Welcome back to this special primary day edition of Hardball. Arizona is one of the 9 states holding primaries today. Retail developer Jim Pederson, who served as the Democratic Party state chairman out there, is unopposed for the Democratic nomination to face 2-term Republican U.S. Senator John Kyle. Mr. Pederson, thank you for joining us. You are taking on someone I wouldn't have thought was beatable on the Republican side in a Republican state. Why do you think you can win?
Well, John Kyle's really never had a challenge in 20 years. I really don't think his positions on the issues are really in line with the majority of Arizonans.
Okay, he's a hawk on the war in Iraq. Is that out of line with Arizona?
Not necessarily out of line, and we have to be careful, Chris, in terms of what kind of words we use, whether it's hawk or whether it's dove or whatever. The Iraqi war is not being conducted in a way that's going to provide an end game, for the people of this country. So we can hold the Bush administration accountable for the conduct of this war and the lack of that end game.
Okay, what's your position on Iraq?
My position on Iraq is let's stop killing our young men and women. Let's get them located or concentrated in forward operating bases. They can't serve as the nation's police chief over there. They can't serve as a referee in terms of a cultural war, a political war, a religious war, a civil war. That can't happen. Let's start winning the war on terror, and let's be a deterrent in Iraq. Let's protect the U.S. interests. That's the main thing.
Well, what is their role over there positively? You say get them out of the line of fire, but what role do they actually play? They're in uniform, they're equipped, they're fed, they're paid. What's their job as soldiers if you want to keep them in Iraq?
Their role is to protect the interest of the United States. Their role is to protect the safety and security of the United States. Their role is not a referee on the streets. Their role is not a policeman.
What is their role? What is their role in Iraq? Why do you want to keep them in Iraq if you can't define their day-to-day job? What should be the job day-to-day when a soldier gets up in the morning? What should he or she be doing that day in Iraq?
To serve as a deterrent, to make sure that this tragic conflict doesn't get beyond the borders of Iraq. If this turns into a regional conflict, if we have a regional conflict in that region that really threatens the security of the United States, that's when the military should be called upon, not in the role as a policeman.
Well, who would be their enemy in that case? Are they supposed to fight Syrians, Iranians, Jordanians? Who are they using their rifles to shoot at or to hold back? I mean, I don't get it. I know what the Democrats are doing, candidates like yourself. They're saying, I don't support the president's policies. And then they support a kind of a Jack Murtha pullback, a redeployment over the hillside or whatever, over the horizon. And yet I've been asked by, Rich Engel was on, who's been reporting from that part of the world for years for NBC, says, if you do that, the soldiers fighting on our side over there for the Iraqi army will look behind them and say, wait a minute, look at all those well-equipped guys, well-fed guys, well-paid soldiers sitting in a bunker or sitting in a barracks while we're doing the fighting. He says it won't work. What do you say?
Well, the current situation certainly isn't working, Chris. I don't come from the political world. I come from the business world. This is the first time that I run for public office. I look for results. If I don't see results, if I don't see bottom line results, then we have to question what the policy is. We have to question the people in charge. Chris, Donald Rumsfeld,
that's not enough. That's to say, I don't like the way the president's running this war. Elect me or you as senator, and I'll find out how to fight this war. Don't you have to go to the people with a proposal for an alternative?
How about the 3 goals that we started out with? How about the 3 goals that President Bush said he would deliver to the American people? An established government in Iraq, a strong security force, infrastructure improvements for the people of Iraq to get them on our side. None of those 3 goals, despite what he said last night, have been met. We have to hold this administration accountable and go after those goals. How about that as a start?
Right, except the person who pulls the lever for you won't know what they're getting.
They're going to be getting someone that takes a hard-nosed, practical, non-ideological, non-political approach to a situation where over 2,500 of our young men and women have been killed, billions and billions of dollars expended, and no results. Nothing. This administration has a deer in the headlights look when it comes to a plan in Iraq. We should demand a detailed plan as to what our end game is in Iraq. That hasn't come up. I think I could do a much better job of doing that.
When would be how long are you willing to keep troops in Iraq?
That's impossible to say today. That's impossible to say. Again,
well,
it depends on the...
The president says he'll keep them there. The president says he'll keep troops in Iraq in force. As long as he's president, he made it very clear he'll keep them there. How long do you think we should keep them there? You have to offer some alternative.
That has to be determined by measurable goals in accordance with a plan, that plan that I mentioned. That plan isn't there, Chris. The plan is not there. So let's come up with a plan. Let's take our troops out of harm's way and make sure that our safety and security is being protected.
If Donald Rumsfeld gets bumped as Secretary of Defense, as Pentagon Chief in the next 2 years, can you give me some names of people that you would recommend as a senator, if you get the job as senator, for his replacement? Can you think of some names you could give us now so we'd know who you'd recommend at that time?
You know, the best information, the best guidance that I've received, you know, on this war, and I've tried to really analyze it and really study it, it's come from the military. It's come from the military. I mean, they called the situation exactly right when we went into Iraq, that they didn't have enough troops, that we weren't meant to be an occupier. Somebody along the lines of Colin Powell, I think, would be a good, hard-nosed person to take a realistic look at that situation and come up with a realistic solution.
So Colin Powell for Department of Defense.
Well, somebody like that, a well-reasoned person with a military background, I think would be a great choice.
Okay, thank you very much. Jim Pederson, running for the United States Senate in Arizona. He's probably going to win the nomination tonight. In fact, they think he's won it already. Good luck in the general, sir. Up next, New York Congressman